Well, good day, friends. I hope you're doing well. I'm Franky. This is Mekci.
Hello, guys.
This is the Think Tank. So, how's everybody doing? Hey, Blifton. Hey, Dandy.
Happy Friday, everyone. Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Blifton, always on point.
Oh right? Yeah, I keep forgetting Friday the 13th. Are you suspicious that way?
I'm not. No, not in particular.
No? How about you guys, Dandy or Blifton? Are you suspicious with the Friday the 13th thing? I know some people really are. Yeah, they're pretty much bubble wrapping themselves.
Yeah. I mean, if it was Friday the 13th in maybe like October and there was a full moon, wolves like escaped from like the local zoo, yeah, I would be
a little freaked out.
Yeah, I would be. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I've got a family member that, yeah, she believes in like Blifton saying like the full moons, Friday the 13th. She thinks like the black cats. Oh, here we go already.
Yeah. See, if I had like a whole thing of those in one day, yeah. No, I'm not. Not going out. The first thing I see when I open my front door is a black cat walking by. Nope.
Not a, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Right away it starts. And then it stops. Yeah. I don't know, Jazzy. It's almost like she knows when I'm streaming because she doesn't do anything for I don't know how long, and then all of a sudden, well, maybe it's because I'm talking. He thinks I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
Okay, chillax. So we do have some things to touch on. We have about a 35-page article that is very, very descriptive when it comes to this case. So we might bounce through that a little bit. Mekci did up one of the best timelines I've seen anywhere on this case. And let's see, we got the public defenders are kind of speaking out. His previous one, I'm kind of curious to see what he has to say.
Why is he speaking? Like,
he's been speaking all the way through this, hasn't he? And I'm not even sure what's going on with him.
I'm curious to look that up. I've been busy today, but I know there's a gag order on it. And with him being a former like public defender and in a different state, maybe that doesn't apply to him. I'm interested in knowing that though. If anybody knows the answer.
Wasn't they fairly like they put a gag order out? So wouldn't that?
Right. But that was the gag order. I think implies to like anyone who's currently
working on the case
now, like still involved and currently working on the case. So I'm not sure if that that still constitutes like the previous public defender that's in Pennsylvania.
Right. Okay. Well, what should we look at? Oh, we were talking maybe do the timeline first, right? No, we were going to do the map first.
Well, first, again, guys, I just want to touch on real quick. Athena is still missing.
Mm-hmm.
Her caretaker, I'll put that in quotation marks, her caretaker was taken into custody, but there's not a lot of details about that, just that she was arrested for 2 counts of neglect.
And didn't she leave her alone as well?
There's not a whole bunch of clarity on that. Like, I know that the caretakers left. They left the premises.
Right.
And either left the children at home by themselves, or another adult, somebody was supposed to be taking care of them, looking after them, but that obviously didn't happen.
Right.
So I'm not really sure. They're not saying much about that.
So this is Athena here. Beautiful little one. Let's see what's kicking in over there. So I do have the missing person up on the community tab on my YouTube. So it can be copied and printed out. It can be copied and pasted, and everyone can put it on their social media. And there's the caregiver there.
Yeah.
So who's the guy?
That is a very good question. Because it's supposed to be, they're supposed to be like in the care of her and her husband. Is that her husband?
Well, that could be, right?
And he hasn't been arrested, right? I don't.
It says on here now, second person arrested.
Okay, so he was.
Yeah. Uplift.
I missed all that. What is going on with dear old Nancy? What is the...
well, here, we'll bring a picture up at that as well while we're at it.
I've seen some really good memes floating around with it. I'm just really curious as why did she go do that?
Yeah. Like it's just another publicity stunt. You know, I've always been able to, I can't say I've been a fan, but I've always been able to tolerate her. And with this, as soon as I seen it, I was done. Like, how on God's green earth do you go about feeling good about yourself when, like, this is, I think it's vile.
I mean, she might as well have like a bullhorn, right?
That's what I said.
Is that what that is?
What's happening? She's sitting right in front of. It's like
I saw a picture.
Like, what the hell are you thinking? I just barf. And then there's people, look at this. Here, let's take our picture with her. Calm down. Just calm down. Oh my God. It's gaggy.
I mean, she's a reputable person, right? Like, why would you...
Well, she's supposed to be, right?
What's going on here?
But now I don't know what is going on as far as people are saying she was taken off Tic Toc or Twitter or something.
She got canceled on TikTok.
So what does that mean? It was
when you get canceled, like just people are like against you, or maybe she really got like booted off.
At glove at crime scene. Yeah, so I don't want to encourage her anymore, so I'll just close that part out. Yeah, what do you guys think about that? Right? Cringe worthy. Yep. And there she was, live in person. No, no, it's gaggy. It's gaggy. And like I said, I was one of the very few people that was like, okay, I'll watch her. She gets some interesting information. And yeah, no, I seen that and it was like, I'm not anything that I seen that went back to her. I didn't watch. If I was going to see anything, I'll go look at and see if I can get information where somebody else gets the credit. That stunt was too much. Like there is just 4 kids brutalized in that house, and she sits down there with her coffee and donuts. It's like, what the frick?
I just kind of want to know what the purpose of that was. Like, if we were 3 years into this case with no suspects, no arrests, nothing coming out, like I can understand like her going out and just like sitting in front of the house, like
yeah.
But
I
what
mean,
is
look
she
at how.
trying to accomplish right now? Exactly.
Hey, Connor, good to see you, friend.
Hi, Connor.
She kind of does. You know, I think
that's real. I think she really is angry.
Oh, yeah, and she just might be that angry. Like, unreal. Can you imagine? Like, you look at her twins and you think, oh, you poor kids.
I feel like, is she married? Because I feel bad for her husband. Like, if that's how she talks, like, all day, every day, like, over breakfast, like, while she's cooking the eggs and making the bacon. Like, if that's how she talks, like,
yeah, I don't think she's divorced. Like, yeah, I think she's still with him. Yeah, as far as I know, there's a guy with patience. Unreal. Well, hello, Shauna. Good to see you, friend.
Hi,
We're just getting started here, talking about Nancy Grace showing up in Moscow. Has been kind of what we've been chit-chatting about. It's enough to make you regurgitate.
I wish I could find that meme of so like, do you guys, I'm sure some of you guys have seen those like convince me.
What was that?
Someone's coming into my house and my dog's telling them that, you
That's
know.
okay. That's okay. You're like me. Push the mute. Oh gosh, her. Yeah, wasn't that disgusting?
Once I find that meme like of that convince me thing, it's like this trend people were doing where they like just put up like a folding table with like a random things. It's like convince me, and it's like a serious subject of the time. Like lately, it's been about like the LGBTQ or like transsexuality and whatnot.
Okay.
But someone did that with like her in it, and they were in the background with their own little folding table. It was like the best thing I had seen in a while.
Oh my God. Yeah. Unreal.
Well, I feel bad for her husband, Dandy, because he must God must have like spent a little extra time with him and been like, you know what? I'm just gonna give you like 60-70% patience.
Oh, right.
Sprinkle this, that, and that for the rest of it. You're gonna need it.
Connor. How'd that happen? So, did you want to bring up was it the map, or do you want to go through the timeline? What do you think? You're in control of that stuff.
Am I? Yeah, wherever you want to start. If you guys, I know that right now with the Moscow case, there's 6 months till the next trial. So if you guys just want to touch base on that really quick, just to kind of, if you have any questions, go over like the timeline a little bit, we can. But
yeah, that timeline is like the best I've seen by far. You did a great job.
Thank you. We can talk about Ann Walsh because some new things have happened with Ann too.
Yeah, you bet. I do have her timeline up. So maybe we'll save that for the end.
Okay.
So did you want to bring up the map and we'll take a fast look at that? And
Yep. Mm-hmm.
maybe
We're up.
Okay, add to stream. Yeah, and again, even your work on here is amazing. Like, I'd bring up my map, but why? And I do have access to yours somehow, don't I? But I forget how exactly that is.
Like anybody can have access to this map. It's pinned in the Discord channel. So anyone who has a link can look at it if you're ever interested in just seeing what's going on.
Awesome.
And I did also put a lot of what's on the probable cause in the actual information of stuff. So
absolutely. Yeah, you did a phenomenal job. So how about we just do that trek from his apartment kind of to that house, the 1122.
Yeah, we could do that. Let's go back up.
Yeah, Mexi's she's amazing.
Let's go look at Google Earth really quick.
No, girls. Yeah, I think my map's got like 6 things on it.
Well, it takes forever to like put these things in. Well, not forever, but like when you're reading the probable cause, I was just sitting there like line by line, like adding everything. It was kind of painstaking.
Well, and that's the way you do it too. That's the way you've been doing it, is everything's off official paper. So I mean, that's awesome.
So this right here, I'm zoomed in. We're in Pullman right now. This is Steptoe Village Apartments. This is where Bryan lives. And I think it's one of these right here, but I can't really tell.
That's kind of what the parking, I think you're right, because the parking lot is pretty much, none of the other ones quite look the same.
So if we're starting there, obviously we know where the kids were from 9 p.m. to about 2 a.m., right? We know where they were at. And Bryan's timeline or alleged timeline doesn't start till about 2:26.
We're going to do this together. That's a great idea.
So
I wish I could help you somehow.
So at 12:26, what starts happening is Kaylee starts calling Jack, right?
Right.
Madison does the same at like 2:44, and Bryan's phone, like somewhere in between that, like 2:42 a.m. to 2:47.
Mm-hmm.
At 2:42, his phone is pinging to the area of the residence where he would be living.
Okay.
About 2 minutes later, his phone starts to travel, and they do catch him. I do believe these two right there. And I'll enlarge that. But they do catch him on these two cameras at about 2:46, starting to travel. And he's going in the direction of, what is it, 207, right? Is that what it is? 270, R270, which is the main highway that connects Pullman to
Moscow.
Right, but I'm not sure he took that route per se, because he would have been dark. He turned his phone off like at 2:47. It goes dark.
Yeah.
And he was still in the area of Pullman at that time.
Okay.
So I don't know if he took the highway or maybe he took that back road through Bugsby and then through Palouse River Drive in Conestoga.
Okay.
But he is seen on camera at 3:26.
So it's almost like he did take that back way.
I think he might have. I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does take, what, like 10 minutes if you're taking the highway?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very possible that he came like through here, right?
Wouldn't we have more cameras catching him that way if that's the way he went?
You could, yeah. Well, yeah.
Like different cameras anyways?
And they might have that. I don't know.
Very true. Yeah, very true.
So there's a couple ways he could have gotten there, but at 3:26, his vehicle was kind of spotted on the 800 block of Indian Hills Road, which is this road right here.
Okay.
And then it kind of travels off this way. So, but shortly after that, he's on Steiner at 95, which is him right here.
Okay.
And this
Fourth
is at
time.
3:20. It's at 3:28.
Hey, you too.
At 3:28, he's on the intersection of Steiner and 95, which is like right down the street from their house. And at 3:29 to about 4:20, this is when the King Road neighborhood starts catching him on camera. He does those 3 passes, takes Wallenetta.
So this is when the cops were probably around there, so that could be a possible reason why he was
just kept driving around.
Yeah.
And I think everyone has a really, like, anything's possible. Was he just driving around to like hype himself up? Was he avoiding the cops? Was he waiting on somebody? Was he waiting on the food delivery guy?
Well, you see, this is the thing, you know, when we get talking about that DoorDash as well. I'm still very curious as to whether or not that could have been the person that gave the description.
Yeah, has camera and just saw the car, but it's really strange. Like, and I don't know how true this is. It's all speculation, but there is a picture of the home where there's like a Jack in the Box bag that's in the kitchen that says Xana's name on it. Could that have been the actual food delivery that she got that day? Possibly, but the closest Jack in the Box is actually in Pullman, very close to Bryan's apartment. So if you guys see, I just like Google searched Jack in the Box, and the closest one pulls up in Pullman, not too far away from his place.
Isn't that something?
Half a mile.
Wow. So really DoorDash. So I'm thinking that as well and he's seen that cop we are pretty sure of, which would explain some of his driving around.
Yeah.
And then as the time got closer to 4 o'clock where he could get there, well, DoorDash is there. So
right around the time that he would have been acting like an idiot right in front of the street, allegedly.
Exactly. So from that 35-page, I don't know, essay, article,
Yeah.
like a 35-page article, I'm not sure. But
Dossier. I don't know.
yeah, they're saying that he did park right behind the house there where he just went down the hill up on Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I thought it was down on the bottom, but I don't think so. Is it Papa? What is his name again?
Pappa Roger.
Yes, Papa Roger made it sound very much like that's where he parked, and he had a good description actually of him scurrying down that hill.
Too good of a description.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I would. Like, I agree with Dandy here. I'd love to see all that footage of him driving around. Like, can you imagine?
Has anyone had a chance to go through the I haven't. I've been meaning to, but the body cam footage of this 3 a.m. drunk call?
Not in depth. I mean, not any more than probably anyone else. I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times.
Because I am curious to know. I mean, because there was a couple of things that were going on that night just in the area where he was trying to drive. If you look up the police activity log, there was things going on all night that day, like during that time in the area.
I don't think ordering food at 4 a.m. is strange because I know when I was like in my early 20s, if we went out drinking, I'd get home and within no time, I either wanted a greasy burger or I wanted Chinese food or pizza. So I don't really find it strange just due to their age and kind of what they're into at that age. So no, I haven't had a deep look into
I don't think it's strange that someone's ordering food at 4 a.m., but I do think it's strange that someone's actually delivering it at 4 a.m. because that's never been my luck. And
okay.
Mom, we're not necessarily like pinning this on Bryan. It's just that that's the information that's there. I mean, if someone could give me information on another suspect, I would love to pin him down. I would.
I don't understand why you're only looking at information that might support Bryan as the killer. It doesn't bother you that he is now saying there was another person involved. I haven't personally heard him say there's another person involved. All that I've personally heard is him saying something along the
arrested.
Yeah, when he was arrested.
Like all speculation too. Like
it is. It is.
Because no one can confirm. Yeah. I mean, would I love to know if somebody else is involved? Absolutely. I would love to
Absolutely.
know. But we can only go with the information that's been told. I don't discount that though.
No.
I don't discount someone else being involved. I just don't have that info.
My email is in the description. And if you have like any other direction you think we should kind of be looking at, Mauve Moon, just let me know. And we can absolutely go diving into it.
Who's that other guy? That other serial killer, the clown? I always
John Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy said very much like something very similar, Mauve, when he got arrested. He asked if someone else would, like if they had arrested someone else or. So I don't know if that. I do find it curious and like it's in my mind. I just don't. I have nothing to go on with that, like other than he might have said it.
Hi, oops, welcome. Yeah, I'm thinking along the same lines as you that he was just trying to mess with the law enforcement. But with that said, you just never know, right? So if anybody has information for us to go over, Absolutely would
Yeah.
love to, but I think that he's playing games, and he still thinks he's playing games he can win.
Oh no, Mom. They don't the mods aren't blocking people that go against everyone here has the right to their opinion. It's just I think sometimes some people aren't as comfortable taking an opinion back or, you know, disagreeing per se. But it's all opinion. No one really no one's gonna hate. I promise.
Yeah, basically how it goes here is as long as everybody's respectful, we're absolutely open to any kind of theories, anything, as long as we're all respectful. We're not known for blocking and what have you, unless we're dealing with an ass. So you don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Or are you trying to push pretty girls? Like, yeah, we're not cool for porn sites either. But you're more than welcome to share your opinions here. It's totally fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so back to this timeline. So for what was it?
I'm just gonna address this really quick.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure, Mauve Moon. We've only ever had to remove one person, and that was the other day. But you're free to, as long as you are correct in your speaking, we're open to everything. You know, it's basically when someone gets rude. So, and if this happens to be the same person, it's the same deal. Yeah, we all have to be respectful. I would love to share my opinion. I will email it if that's okay. Absolutely. Whatever works for you, friend.
Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
impossible other persons involved, but I expect LE would have ruled out roommates first and also spent some time investigating whether Bryan Kohberger operated alone.
See, so like that's I'm glad you mentioned that because that's like one thing that I've gone back and like looked at a lot was the press releases, and I can't harp on enough how law enforcement was so specific about how they worded things. A great example would be how they worded like the suspects as like or non-suspects, should I say? They would just say, at this time, we do not believe that this person, and this person are involved at this time. Read between the lines, because that means like if they find out something later, they're gonna come back to you. They're gonna add you to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this was, went through all of this to get in there.
Mm-hmm.
What was done was done. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was like a road trip after this. Hello, James. Good to see you, friend. I don't believe they ruled anyone out. They focused on Bryan. The second the roommates said they stopped looking at anyone else. I feel was a lot of suspects in this case. Absolutely, friend.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, email me your theories. I
absolutely.
would I'd be
Um,
very interested in seeing them.
I know. I mean, I was looking at the people closest to them really hard for a second.
Well, and then there's the roommate with the big nap and, a few different things.
Yeah, so
A
I
few,
don't know what she was doing, to be honest.
yeah.
And what was Bethany doing? Or sorry, is her name Bethany? I've seen Beth. Is it Bethany or Beth? Or I guess Beth is just short, but
I think probably called her Beth for short for Bethany.
because she wasn't too much in the probable cause other than them saying that she's the one that gave clarification on Xana and Ethan actually being at the Sigma Chi party for as long as they
Mhm.
were. I
Mhm.
guess she was there too. That was news to me.
Oh, so she was at that party?
That's kind of how it reads on the probable cause. Like, it makes it seem like she was there at that party and she saw them there.
Clifton.
I do. I'll put Ron Logan down for everything. Like the other gunman at the grassy knoll, Ron Logan. I wouldn't put.
So they've got the timeline that the person was in that house. They've got it down to something like 9 minutes.
Something ridiculous, like,
Oh, yeah.
because, and it's such a narrow window of time, because if at 4:04, this is when the start, it's 4:04 a.m. This is the start of the crazy shenanigans he was doing,
Yeah.
or not he, whoever that was in the vehicle was doing.
Mhm.
Just doing crazy things. Like, I don't think he did that all in 1 minute. I think that was what, like 3 minutes maybe of
Right.
doing dumb things. Then you got to park the car. I'm not thinking that he got out of the car and just like sprinted to whatever entrance he was going to use. Like, you can't, he would stealthily walk up there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we
You
thinking?
would
Like
think.
4:10, 4:07? Like, what?
Well, not if he parked behind the house there. That's just like slip down that's just like a little down the hill.
And did he really? Right, right down the. Did he? Is everyone like in the general consensus that he also entered through the back door, through that sliding glass door, or does anyone
I
else
think
think
so.
like he came in like in another manner? Maybe use the
Yeah.
front door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So this is something what Mauve is saying here. They say he was stalking the house and DoorDash comes to the door, alarming
action.
everyone in the house, and he just decides to enter knowing everyone in the house is awake. Yeah, that is absolutely a ballsy move. Absolutely a ballsy move.
And I think I'd like mentioned that to you. Like, what if when we found out about the DoorDash, like I thought, well, what if he like pulled up like
Mm-hmm.
and was just like, oh hey, like that's for me, like I live here kind of thing. But like
Oh
trying
yeah.
to like, knock on the door, pretend he was the DoorDash driver, or
Well, they're also saying that DoorDash was common to leave the bag outside, ring a doorbell, and leave the bag out
they
there.
never do that. You can
They
leave
don't?
specific
Okay.
instructions. Well, I know I leave specific instructions to be like, please don't ring the doorbell. Like, just leave it. And what do? They knock and ring the doorbell. It's so
Right?
someone had to have did whoever come for the food, if they did leave it at the door, did they not close the door properly? Was
Right.
it a
And
distraction, or just like that huge coincidence was just like the perfect, just the stars align for the perpetrator to like sneak into the house unknowingly?
yeah. And they're in a small town. And I know from living in small towns off and on for my entire life, you do. Oh my word. So small towns, it's not uncommon for people to leave their doors unlocked. As oh my word, as unsmart as it probably is. I mean, I've even fallen asleep and the next day it's like,
Yeah.
I use my big girl voice.
I mean, I grew up in a smallish town, very rural, like out in close to the
Yeah.
border. But my parents, like, my dad was like religious, but it's still to this day, like, before he goes to sleep, he makes sure that every single door and window,
Yeah.
anything is locked and secured. He even tries it a couple times before he even like goes and lays down. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
he's, you can't trust people. Like,
No, you can't. You can't. Oh my goodness. I know when my dogs bark, I get up and go look to see right away what
Mhm.
is upsetting them. I'm just confused as to how they could make everything linked to Bryan. I think they're just following the
Mhm.
evidence right now. I think
Mhm.
they're just kind of going where that leads them. I don't think that anything shady has happened, in my opinion, but it's
Well, we have to think too, like, this is the probable cause when it comes to like probable cause warrants, they all they need is just enough. Like, just because you're in the area, your phone's pinging in the area, your vehicle's there, doesn't mean you're a murderer. That no.
mhm.
But it just so happens that something terrible happened. They're looking for a suspect, and your cell phone's pinging there, your car's been seen there, like
Your
you.
DNA's
And I'm
inside the
sure,
place.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
can they have more? Should they have more? I hope so. I would
yeah,
hope that they would have more when it comes to this, but right now Bryan is sitting where he's sitting because he looks good for it on what's on the probable cause.
he sure
But
does.
that
Yeah,
doesn't mean that he can't, prove his innocence, and maybe something will come out later.
yeah, yeah. Well, and this is the thing, they just might have somebody else they're looking at
Mhm.
along with him, someone that helped him get away, somebody that, has some kind
Yeah,
of, yeah, we can't say yes
and
or no at this point. Enough
right,
just hasn't been released. They're
and
keeping
I'm
a lot
glad
of stuff.
you mentioned that whole, if there's someone else involved, because that could also be a reason why that search warrant is
Yes,
sealed right now,
that's
that
right.
they're not trying to give it out, because the explanation that they gave, where it's a risk to the community and the public and whatnot, that could be because they really are trying to they're looking at someone else,
Mm-hmm.
possibly. I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, but that could be a
Yeah,
reason why they would seal it, because they found some
yeah,
sort of evidence that could lead them to more.
right. Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, they have been very closed lipped
mhm,
with everything, which I do believe they should be.
yep,
Um, so if there is somebody else that they think he might have had involved with this, we'll find out about it.
mhm.
I really don't think these cops are crooked. I've sadly ran into crooked cops, and this is not what I'm seeing here. I mean, again, I could be wrong,
And
but it
yeah, if he is holding out, if Bryan, who's sitting in jail right now, is holding out on someone else,
mhm.
we'll find out here in like 6 months. It's a long time to sit and wait
Oh,
for,
yes.
you know.
Yes. Um, yeah, they'll absolutely they'll get their DNA back, they'll get their different records
Mhm,
back, they'll get the different tower dumps, all the different, and if
mhm.
there's somebody around there, you know,
Someone whose
along
phone was pinging along with his, or
yeah, yeah, and Dylan only seen, um, one person.
that we know of.
that we're aware of. That's right. Like that's very, very true. When they released the evidence, they thought it was a done deal, in my opinion. Well, I mean, you never know. You never know. I think they just let out a very, very, very little bit of what they have. That is typically how this works.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, that is their job. They have his DNA there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is when like all your faith in like the justice system has to be like really solid. All I know is if I was in this situation,
Yep.
I'd be a hot mess, crying every day. I'd be in my cell yelling at anybody that would hear me out.
Yeah, let them get me the hell out of here.
Any chance I got, I would just like try to let anyone know that it's not me. You have the wrong person, and he seems, and I've said this before, he just seems so collected and calm about this. And I know people, handle things differently, but that's strange. That's strange to me. Like,
oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, there's no way that he is not involved. It's kind of like what Dandy just said. If BK isn't involved in any way, he is the unluckiest dude ever.
Yeah.
Cold fish and those eyes. I mean, there's nothing that lives behind those eyes. Yeah.
But does he look that way because he's just so like in shock right now? But like if you look at the other picture of him where he's in that blue collared shirt, I think it was for a picture for the university or something. Even then he looks a little detached from.
He really does, and the age that a lot of this stuff seems to have been happening in his life does correlate when mental health usually starts affecting a young male. Yeah.
But we don't even know if he's like, if that really was him. And I think I think people are really thinking it was him. So allegedly, like if it was him writing those posts in his teenage years, we can't really say that he's in like the same mental state as he was then. What if he did get help, or what if he relapsed, or
yes, exactly. So let's see here, this is after he's done here, he is gone for quite a few hours.
Well,
and then back for 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so after he leaves this area, so he enters this area here around 4:04. There's a ballpark estimation of the time that he had to commit this crime. By 4:20, his vehicle is spotted leaving the area and going down Wallenetta. So this is Wallenetta right here.
Okay. Right up behind their house and around.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think they did a canvass of the area, and from the cameras, the police believe that he would have exited using Conestoga Drive. So out this way through the back of the neighborhood. And this is Palouse River Drive, which Palouse River Drive will eventually take you to Pullman. But he didn't go that way.
Exactly.
He took Main Street, which is 95, and headed south.
Yeah.
Which they catch him. He turns on his phone around here. It's at 4:48. So he was dark from 2:40 something to now. That's a whole hour. And then from Genesee, I think that's how it's pronounced, Genesee.
Okay.
He heads south to Union Town. And also, guys, so I know that there's speculation if they meant Johnson, Idaho, because it says Johnson, Idaho in the affidavit or in the probable cause, or if it's Johnson, Washington. But they also did the very same thing with Uniontown. So when they describe him going south from Guinness or Genesee, it says Uniontown, Idaho, but there's no Uniontown, Idaho.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm starting to lean towards it was a typo, but we'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then by 5:30, so once he hits Uniontown, he goes up 195, and by 5:30, he starts being spotted on camera. This is the first time the camera picks him up.
Okay.
Right around 5:25. And you can kind of, all those little cars right there are his route of travel that is heading towards his
apartment.
residence. Yeah, his dwelling.
Okay.
And he should have been back in Pullman by 5:30. Yeah. And then by 9:00 a.m., I'm not sure what was going on here, what was happening, but I don't know if they expected that somebody would already reported the murders or there'd be something on the news or something. Maybe he was looking for it. So at 9 a.m., his cellular device and vehicle are spotted leaving Pullman and going to Moscow. And the phone, his particular phone, pings in the area that would have gave cellular service to the King Road residents. So
right. And this is the one that says that Steve Goncalves says it touched their Wi-Fi.
I don't know. I'm not going to read too much into that because Mr. Kalves, as much as I appreciate that man, he's not always really clear.
No, not always.
What he's saying or what he's actually talking about. So I'm gonna wait and see if that comes out in like some paperwork or if it's set in court if it ever gets there.
Right. So yeah, because there's a couple different. What exactly does that mean?
Was it the 12 previous times?
Right.
Because I wouldn't doubt it. Like most people keep their cellular device on that automatic connect to Wi-Fi automatically like setting on their phone.
Right.
So if he just so happened to get really close to their house, like maybe it did try to connect and they would get a notification for that, you know.
Okay. They're also saying that there is a lot of phone towers in that area.
But it's not so after he's in the Moscow area from like 9:12 to 9:21, so 10 minutes at most. And then his phone travels back to Pullman. He's back in the area like 10 minutes later. 9:32, he's getting back to the residence. And it wasn't until 11:58, 11:56 that that 911 call.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And then he was seen by Kate's Cup of Joe.
So, yeah, in the probable cause, it doesn't say what time he took off. It just says that the phone utilized cellular service that was consistent with the phone traveling towards. Let me slide back down. to Lewiston. Lewiston and Clarkston. Clarkston is on Washington side. Lewiston would be on the Idaho side.
Welcome, Gizzy.
It doesn't say what time he took off. We can take a guess just by doing a route, but
and there's the river.
Yeah, his cell phone is caught right around here.
Yeah.
So I think he crossed right here, and then he crossed over to Washington via the bridge, but then these two little symbols right here, one's his cell phone. The camera would be the footage from Albertsons. So he passed it up.
Right.
He passed it up and then came up closer to the river. And then a camera picks him up, the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And then services that would have given service to Kate's Cup, I'm assuming they're talking about maybe some kind of Wi-Fi or something.
Right.
Picks him up right in front. And then he comes to Albertsons.
Likely cameras on the bridge, which he would know for sure. Well said, Perry. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say where he went after 104. So after he leaves here, there's 4 hours that aren't talked about or even mentioned.
Yeah.
Until it says that he is at either Johnson, Idaho.
Right.
Or Johnson, Washington. So from 104 to 532, there's no mention of where he is.
Dark again.
Oh, I don't know if he's dark. There's just no mention of where he is. Or if his phone traveled or where it went. Like, there's just no mention of it.
Oh, that's just what? About 5 minutes? Is that what I'm seeing? 5:30.
Well, from 5:32 to 5:36, he used the phone. Either they say Johnson, Idaho. It might be Johnson, Washington. But where was he from 104 to
5:32:36?
That would explain that would kind of explain like where he really went. If he was in Johnson, Idaho, like I'd be like, oh, those 4 hours is him traveling to Johnson, Idaho, because that's about how far it is.
Right.
But it's not that far from Lewiston to Johnson, Washington. So where was he for 4 hours?
Sounds great, Shauna. They should, I'm hoping, have cameras that have caught up with him. Or is it starting to get pretty barren in there?
It's in Washington. Scroll out a little bit. So the camera that you see right there at the bottom would be the 104, like him exiting Albertsons.
Okay.
And then it doesn't mention anything about where he was, where he traveled to. And then they put him somewhere in Johnson at 5:32. So did he go here to Washington? Or did he travel out here to Idaho?
Exactly.
Johnson, Idaho.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing with the two states having the same place. Yeah. And with the way that they've been tracking this, with the information they've been able to get, actually, that does seem kind of like a dark spot. So he could have been anywhere. You know, and I would imagine, because by this time I'm assuming he would realize that sheath is gone. Well, hello, Jessica. Welcome.
He realized that pretty fast. That was another thing. So, like, that 9 a.m. visit that he did, that he allegedly did to Moscow, did he realize he had forgotten the sheath and was like, oh, God, I need to go back and try to get it? Was he
Yeah.
wondering why there wasn't more news on this? Why wasn't this being reported? And he just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
What was he doing?
Right. I would personally think that he would be trying to get rid of his stuff. That's what I would think, is that, all that dark clothing and that weapon. I mean, as soon as I realized I left half of, the package that carries that weapon, the sheath,
Mhm.
soon as you're going to know there's probably DNA on there. He should be smart enough to know that, right? So then it's going to be, let's get rid of this because, I mean, if there's no paper trail saying he owned one, if he
Which there
gets rid of
wouldn't
that,
be. Yeah, which there wouldn't be a
exactly.
paper trail if he got it, like if someone gave it to him, like a family member or something gave it to him.
Yeah, if it was a gift. Yeah.
Did he use this route when he left? Like when they left, did the perpetrator use this route to get rid of the clothing?
That's what I would
Because
think.
I know I would want to, right? If I just like slain 4 people, I hop in my car, adrenaline rush, I'm freaking out, probably
Yeah.
driving kind of fast. Um,
I
I would
have a
want to get
feeling
rid of that clothes, like out of fear of being pulled over just randomly, you know?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I have a feeling that, yeah, he was freaking out. I don't think he expected that many people to be in that house, to be honest with you.
That was a
I don't,
surprise.
yeah. I mean, even Kaylee being there, unless he was that white car that we've seen in a couple different shots from the evening of the 12th,
Mhm.
like that grub truck and the one possibly behind the house the next day. If that's the case, then he's going to know that Kaylee is there. But if not, she would be a surprise as well. I don't know how long she had been moved out for, but
Yeah,
she was
I do
no.
have questions about that because she was still considered a senior, so, like, was she not required to be, like, attending class? Like, did she just have to do, like, online studies
Unless she
or
was finished.
yeah, I suppose. But then also Ethan, I mean, as far as I know, and this is my own personal opinion about, like, how relationships have gone in my life, um, he was allegedly supposed to be have stalked them, right? Like he had been
Mm-hmm.
around in and around the area in the residence. They believed that he was stalking the residents.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan and Xana seem to be pretty close and like in love. Don't you
Mm-hmm.
think like if he was stalking the residents, he would have kind of figured out that Ethan stayed
Could
there
be there.
often?
Very well could, but I don't know, right? I don't know. I guess
Um,
with that, if he's doing most of these pings those from those 12 incidences were in
mhm.
the middle of the night. And I don't imagine Ethan was bringing a vehicle over. So maybe he just didn't know there was a guy in the house every once in a
He
while.
just assumed the vehicle belonged to one of the residents from there.
Yeah, or unless he just walked across because it's fast walk.
But that would also imply that he knew that Dylan and Beth both live there. So why leave them unharmed? They just weren't part of his plan. They weren't part of
I think he could have been
risky,
exhausted.
too
I
exhausted
just
with the extra
exhausted.
people that he wasn't ready for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my thoughts. Things may have gotten a little bit out of hand and yeah, that would be exhausting.
Yeah.
One person would be exhausting. And then you got to figure, I don't know how long you're going to have that adrenaline dump, like where it
Yeah.
leaves.
Like that decline
Yeah.
kind of come down.
Yeah. 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 No, I
Very
don't
good.
know. Yeah, yeah, the loss of adrenaline, Shauna,
Yeah.
exactly.
Coming down from a high.
Yeah. They were probably intoxicated. Kate and M came home from a pub. Yeah, that's the thing. And from the grub truck. I mean, they were pretty intoxicated. I
Mm.
wouldn't be surprised if when they fell asleep hard. And I don't know how much Xana and Ethan were drinking at that
But Dana was
fraternity
supposed to be
party.
up, because she was on Tic
Yeah,
Toc. Like, you know.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember living in the city and then moving to a small town, going out woohooing in the bars, and and this is from the city to the small town, and I wanted pizza. And I mean, there's 2 pizza places in the whole damn town. Both of them closed at midnight, and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, luckily here in America, pizza places
Mm,
close somewhat really late, especially if you're in a big city like New York.
well,
I
yeah,
know
I bet.
they have like the all-nighter pizza places.
Yeah, even in the cities I lived in, 1,000,000 or so people, but nothing like an American one. But yeah, I mean, they'd deliver 4 or 5 in the morning, and by that time, somebody else is up doing whatever, ready to serve you breakfast.
Yeah, that just hasn't been my luck with delivery services like that late at night. That's what I'm like. I don't find it weird that an order was placed at that late at night. I find it weird that someone actually delivered it. But maybe because they knew
They're
the area,
college towns, though.
yeah, and this is supposed to be
Yeah,
like a small town, so I would assume like maybe it's just because it's a small area, they've delivered there prior. Maybe they were just like, yeah, it's cool. Um,
right? Shauna, Bartel too, and then the Waffle House. Yeah.
hmm
Do you guys have Denny's? Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Denny's has
that's
had that.
yeah, Denny's is where I would head afterwards. Either that or the hot dog
Chains.
stand that was just outside of the bar. Yeah, Pizzagate.
Those are all facts. Uh,
I've heard that too. And I've heard that too. No, do they? They never close. Oh my goodness. So then, after all of this, he continued on uh, going to uni and grading his papers and doing what have you.
yeah.
Some people have said that he was like more chatty, and other people were like he looked like crap.
No.
So,
I think he was
hard.
both. I'm starting to think that he did both, like burning the candle on both ends, yet trying to, because he still
Yeah,
he would have been excited still. I would think, but
yeah, yeah. So they do this. The cops, um, whatever happens with Dylan happens, and the next morning the cops are called for an unconscious person. Now, I have learned that because it is college towns, what they do, they hire in, it's basically like a call center to take a few different places, like take all their 911 calls and then dispatch them out. So in that area, just because a lot of kids have, they can listen to the calls and what have you. So
mhm.
what this dispatch is supposed to say is, I have an unconscious person.
Yeah.
That is what dispatch is trained to say, so that the cops know to get there ASAP.
Mm. Well, I kind of
So
figured from like the start that um because it was also said that like the 911 call had several people just kind of maybe passing the phone around, and it was I just think maybe the 911 caller is like, you're calling 911. This is supposed to be an emergency, right? And you guys are passing the phone around. I'm not getting anything solid. I'm not understanding. I'm only catching bits and pieces. They probably for sure knew that it was like serious, so they just said unconscious person, dispatch. That way that the people that need to be alerted get alerted. So you dispatch the cops, rescue, fire department.
Yeah. A good food truck can be a little gold mine. Isn't that the absolute truth? Yeah. I don't care. My favorite freaking like a gut truck was in Mexico. It truly was. It was like,
the best street food comes from Mexico. My gosh, you have no idea what you're missing. The elote, the tacos.
Oh my goodness. And then everybody gets to talk in that cool accent, just like you just did. Oh, do you? Food Truck Fridays. That's awesome. I've got a relative that can cook like, oh my goodness. And she started up a little gut truck in the small town next to her husband's computer company, actually.
Genius.
And yeah, she's done phenomenal. Okay, so we've got, let's see. So did we basically get that timeline looked at?
Yeah, pretty much as far as what the activities were from the wire Elantra and the cellular data. Yep.
Let me see here. Well, here's something interesting. Look this up. It's being glitchy. Okay. I found this really, really interesting. So it says Bryan Kohberger said he felt blank and had no emotion as a teen. Let me just see what we've got going here. Okay, we won't bother with that. Accused Idaho unaliver Bryan Kohberger allegedly admitted as a teen that he felt no emotion and like a sack of meat. In chilling online posts that later told a childhood friend that he wanted to study high-profile criminals. I feel like an organic sack of meat with no self-worth. Oh, my tongue already. He allegedly wrote on Tic Toc, a mental health forum at age 16, 2011. As I hug my family, I look into their faces. I see nothing. It is like I'm looking at a video game, but less. That's scary. The eerie post is one of several obtained by the New York Times. In light of Kohberger's arrest on December 30th for the November 13th unalivings of the University of Idaho students, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. Okay, let's see here. So it says a decade earlier, an account linked to Kohberger's email wrote on Tic Toc about feeling depressed and distracted by the constant thoughts of unaliving. Nothing I do is enjoyable, he said in one post. I'm blank. I have no opinion. I have no emotion. I have nothing. Can you relate?
That's scary.
And right. And the user boasted that he could do whatever I want with little remorse. Yeah, he's scary. Kohberger also reported that he used the forum to connect with others reportedly suffering from visual snow syndrome, a rare neurological disorder in which an individual's vision is obscured by static like dots. I know it was something that really bugged him. A former high school friend told the Times he was basically to the point where he was neurotic about it. So we've seen quite a few posts about him talking about this BS, and
Mm-hmm.
he was really trying to fix it when he was a teen. So imagine how this gets as you go through puberty and you go through, you get kind of like a different kind of hormone change when you're 17, 18. The Tap Talk posts chronicle his attempts to mitigate his symptoms, including migraine medication, visits to a neurologist, and a sugar-free, starch-free diet. He wouldn't eat any bread, and he would only eat certain fruits. It was very restrictive. By 2012, the Times reported Kohberger's post sounded more optimistic. He graduated high school the following year, but reportedly fell quickly into that H addiction. Rich Pasqua, who was a few grades ahead of Kohberger, told the Times they used H together in 2013, 2014, when they both worked at a pizza joint. He described the younger man as socially awkward and noted that he did not appear to have many friends. We would make it to a cul-de-sac and would see their orange lights, and Bryan would be like, go this way. He remembered a time the pair tried to avoid the security guard at Kohberger's parents' gated community. It's like, we're going to get in so much trouble. So, I mean, he doesn't come from a poor family if they're living in a gated community.
I think they're like blue collar, just
right.
Hardworking people. But they weren't wealthy or rich by any means.
But not broke either.
Yeah. This is actually a little thing that also he posted from that Pappa Talk that they're talking about. It's a health forum. Just to kind of read off, this allegedly, if this is him, he listed off what he was feeling. And I'm just going to read to you that one post because it's concerning for a lot of reasons.
Absolutely.
This was posted 2011. It reads, I always feel as if I'm not there, completely depersonalized. Mentally, I experience, and here's a list: fog, lack of comprehension at sometimes, feel like my life is a movie, depression, no interest in anxiety, constant thought of suicide, crazy thoughts, delusions of grandeur, anxiety, poor self-image, poor social skills, no emotion. I feel like nothing has a point to it. When I get home, I am mean to my family. This started when visual snow did. I felt no emotion, and along with the depersonalization, I can say and do whatever I want with little remorse. Everyone hates me pretty much. I am an asshole.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
that is that.
Yeah. It's a little bit scary because he's having an issue, obviously. Like, he's talking about this visual snow, and I don't know which happened first, but he claims that he had the visual snow, and then all of his feelings started because of that.
Right.
And I don't know, I'm not a doctor, and I wasn't present in 2011, and I don't know him now, but all those things that are mentioned that are listed, it's like the person is blaming all of these feelings on this one thing, when I don't think, at least in my opinion, I don't think that they correlate like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like putting all, your eggs in one basket instead
Yeah.
of trying to really figure out
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where that's coming from, or what the underlying issue of that is. You just don't get visual snow for no reason. It's usually like a sign of like migraines or pressure,
Right.
swelling,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Do you know what? James just said something very interesting. Ted Bundy could have wrote that. And do you know what? As soon as he said that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he also did write that, because it is pretty much a description after Bundy was caught and he was doing time in Florida, pretty much things he would have said. So, oh my God.
And a lot of these things that are listed or were listed are actual personality traits from a lot of serial killers. It's weird.
I don't know about her some days. Yeah, exactly right. Like there are some traits
Mm-hmm.
that are actually scientifically proven to go along with these different, I don't know, disorders, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to call them, to be
No.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I think there's lots more to learn. I think we're going to hear lots more yet before he actually ends up back in court. He looked like a mess.
He lost some weight, it looked like.
You're right, James. Could have been a psycho checklist. Yeah.
Oh yes, Mom. If my dog barks, regardless of what time it is, we get up
Yeah.
and notice. And you weren't part of that life, but I did actually throw out that question because no one had ever mentioned it. Like I know everyone, like prior to that, everyone was just really concerned about the dog. They're like, "Where was the dog? Is the dog okay? Was the dog involved in the whole situation?"
Mm-hmm.
And my actual thought was like, why didn't this dog like alert or bark or like,
Right.
I don't
What
know.
if he's really
People,
close?
the explanation that I heard was just that he's not a barker. I'm sorry, but my dog is going to be a barker. I'm
Yeah.
never going to
And
cry. Like,
lack of empathy, lack of emotional response, not all about him.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. And my dogs, I don't really have to worry because they bark at everything. And if anything came in the house, they'd eat them. So it doesn't, it all works.
I don't know, Maud. Like, because I'm not sure that the dog was per se
Not a
quite an
threat.
issue.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that dog was in a kennel or obviously we know that the dog was in Kaylee's room, but did the perpetrator even try to go into Kaylee's room if we're assuming that Kaylee wasn't even a target because he wouldn't have thought she was there, right?
I find this question kind of interesting though, because he says he or she. So why not unalive the dog right away to silence him? He was a known animal abuser. I did not realize that he was a known animal
I've
abuser.
never heard that. I've never heard. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just like I haven't heard that.
Isn't that something? Yeah, we'll have to look into that.
Um,
Yeah, because I've never heard.
yeah, I haven't heard that.
Yeah. And, I think that Murphy was also used to a lot of people. And that's going to play into it as well. Like their household was not your typical household.
Because they probably got Murphy to just like kind of be quiet because of all the people coming in and out, which is also understandable. Or it's an excuse. I'm not saying it's an excuse for everybody, but it's their excuse, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
But no, not in my house. Like, A,
No.
I don't have guests. B,
There's
you ain't
that.
getting in
Yeah.
my house.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Even when I order food in, they just go to the door and go, "Oh, the big dog."
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
The big dog.
Violence in the house is different, though. They react differently. He was known to bark, from what I've learned. Well, yeah,
Well,
that could.
and also from the affidavit, we know that Murphy did bark. If it was Murphy, I don't know if it was Murphy barking in the audio
Right?
that the police have, but they do mention a dog barking. I guess it could be Murphy,
Yeah.
but it barked after the fact.
Yeah, and that could very well be because mauve is correct that there is a different energy for the dogs to pick
Yeah.
up. So if Murphy was barking, obviously if he was a known barker, nobody's going to pay attention to it. Not if he barks at everything. I've got one that she barks at like the deer all day long. Oh, look at that deer. Oh, look at that deer. And the other one,
That's funny. Yeah, no one's blaming Murphy. I mean, for all we
no,
know, Murphy
Murphy.
did it and like buried the weapon in the backyard, like
Right.
Dandy said. Like,
Oh, right, Dandy.
Murphy's probably
Right.
sitting there laughing it all the way to the bank. 'Cause
So tonight I was actually gonna do a live on something totally different. And then this came out and I started bugging Mekci like, Mekci, Mekci. I didn't expect there really to be anything else out there. And then Mekci did this like kick-ass timeline. There's also we're both actually going through it. We've both got copies of that I don't know what.
I know, I'm gonna call
Yeah,
it a dossier. I don't know what it is. It's 35 pages, guys. Like, I
it's
need
only the first part of it.
yeah, there's 2 parts.
Yeah.
I need a margarita, a recliner, and a whole day just to like read that over.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I started reading it and then I was like, what? So I went back again. Then I got out the highlighter. So yeah, I'll be taking a look at that again tonight too. I am thinking. So is there anything else you wanted to add, Mekci?
Actually, I do have a question. What happened with Richard Allen today? I woke up late, so I don't know what happened.
I have not heard a thing.
Did anything happen? Does anyone know what happened with the Richard Allen court today?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think too, James. I'm glad that he's with Jack D, because even if he didn't see anything, he absolutely would have felt that energy, I think, and would know something was really bad.
Yeah. That's kind of what the point that I was bringing up the last live that we had when I mentioned Murphy was, even if like the perpetrator had like gotten into the house prior to anyone arriving or just kind of snuck in like hours prior to that and was hiding, your dog would like alert you and let you know like, hey, there's someone behind this door, like you might want to come check it out. I know mine would. So I don't know. I find that really strange. I'm not going to put too much into thinking about it. God bless Murphy.
Right.
But it is strange.
Yeah, and I did forget. They just reminded me, yeah, there's that gag order on all this stuff still.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where that's at.
A good mom. I don't know if you've joined us on Discord, but I have the link to all of those health forum, the Tap to Talk chats that he had are in Discord. The probable causes in there, the timelines in there. But
There's a lot in
yeah,
Discord.
if you guys, Mav talking about he's not quite sure why there's a gag order, I would suggest looking up if you're into LawTube. It's law on YouTube. Look up Tragos Law. I'll look it up and put it in the chat. But he does a really good explanation of all the reasons why there would or could be a gag order on that search warrant.
I seen that earlier today as
Yeah.
well. Okay.
I love that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few of them. I like that one. What is she called? Court and curtsy words or something? Crime and
prosecutor. She's great. I love her too. Yeah. But this guy's really good. He's been following a few of the cases. He's been following Delphi. He's following this case now with Moscow. So he just has really good explanations, and he is a practicing lawyer. So, and I'll drop the link to Discord as well for Franky. Anyone's more than welcome to join.
Absolutely.
And there's a whole bunch of information on there. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Franky. I know you had mentioned it, taking a break on Moscow since there's 6 months of waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be nice to give some attention
to other things.
To some of these. Yeah. Like I would like to do one on Anna Walsh. There is also another one that Perry put in Discord that you and I were kind of talking about.
That's related to Eliza, or might be related to Eliza Fletcher.
Yeah. I don't have it up at the moment. But yeah, so I wouldn't mind.
Some cold cases, James. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's Discord. We're gonna get you over there. Did we get you over there yet, James, to Discord?
No, he's playing hard to get.
Oh, damn boys.
Oh my gosh, yes, Mom. Like that one I'm laughing because there's literally video evidence of this woman sitting on her couch videotaping him screaming from inside of the suitcase, and she's just like, that's what you get. That's what happens. And then she tries telling the cops that she's like, oh, we were playing hide and seek, and I don't know, I forgot that he hid. Are you serious? You put him in there, woman. And walked away. You zipped him up and walked away.
We've got Natalie Woods is in Discord at the moment. James. Yes.
That one leaves me at it kind of reminds me of this Ann Walsh's husband, who's like Google searching like how to get rid of a 115-pound 5'3" woman, and I'm like, dude, really?
Ramsey Case is in Discord, James. Yeah, she's absolutely. That was amazing, and the whole time she could I have some water. Has anybody got? Can I have a drink of water? Does anyone mind if I have a little bit of water? Can you get me some water?
I think one day we should do her.
Yes.
There's a couple other really like dumb criminals that have walked this earth. I never remember the guy's name, but he stalked his neighbor dismembered her, put her in the trash can of the apartment complex, and then did
Oh
an
my God.
interview with the news, the guy with the really curly hair. And the news reporter asked him, she was like, hey, like, what do you think of her? Like, they just found like body parts in the trash. And he's like, they did.
Oh, thank God.
And
The
he
big
just
hair?
turned, yes, he turned like pale white, and he was like, I think I got to sit down. Like,
Yeah.
wow, that was strange. But
Oh my God.
things you should never do. Yeah. That's-
Oh yeah, he did. Like he looked so like just
He
like
lost his life right there. You could see it. You could see his life departing.
right.
He just got lighter and lighter by the second. Like he just went white. Oh man.
Oh my God. Yeah, we were playing hide and go seek. So I hid him and then I had to find him and I forgot to look.
I don't even understand that.
No, she made no sense. No, she needed
It,
her water.
it really didn't. Like this, and then like I said, there's video evidence. She sat on the sofa and recorded this
Yeah.
happening.
And
Uh,
while she's sitting there laughing. Yeah,
wow.
not funny now, is it?
No.
It's like, oh my God, woman, you are so busted. Yeah, yeah, just do one up on. We should do that on one of our Saturday shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do one on like. Oh, right. I wonder if she really meant to unalive him. I think she did because she had him face down.
I
And he kept saying,
mean,
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
see, that's exactly it. Like yes, I think the intention was to kill him, because even if it was a joke, like,
Mm-hmm.
because I know I've been like, hey, will you like zip me up just to see if I fit? You know, I don't know. Or do dumb things. But once like if it was just a joke, and then once someone starts yelling, like pleading to, it's not funny anymore, please let me out, please let me out, like, and he must have been
Yeah,
yelling for hours, and you don't, that, I mean, you
right?
just, you heard him just scream for hours, you even videotape it, and then you just go to sleep. You meant to kill him.
Yeah. She knew he was face down. She knew he couldn't get out. Guilty.
At the very least of maybe what would that be, like third, is it third degree, like when it's considered murder but it's like unintentional or not like, what is that, like second degree, third degree, not really
I
sure.
don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, it's something, like she's gonna get in trouble for sure. Like it's
Oh,
manslaughter,
for sure.
murder, manslaughter at the very least, murder for sure.
Oh, yes.
That's
She threw him
right.
down the stairs.
I,
I'm
yes,
sorry, I
Mom.
shouldn't laugh.
To, to answer your question about if I thought, yes, obviously, she threw him down the stairs.
I forgot about that part.
She definitely tried.
Oops.
Oh my gosh.
Is this one we have to add? Because I haven't heard of this one, James. Oh, and
Tomorrow,
to set
why
up
wait till
Discord,
tomorrow?
it's like,
Tonight.
yeah, and it's fast. It's not a big, long process. It's just like boom, and it's in. Yeah.
Shauna, it's so fun.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. No, you don't do it.
No.
That's when you get in the
No.
trouble.
Mm.
So, guys, what do you think, Mekci? I think I'm about ready to call it. Hour and 40.
Yep. I got monster
Okay,
chili to
guys.
make.
Who's it?
Moscatoli.
Okay, what is Moscatoli?
You don't know what Moscatoli is? Like, it's a noodle. It's a cylinder cut into like inch-long pieces. You put
Manicotti?
no
No.
Moscatoli.
Moscatoli, okay. No.
I'll send you pictures. It'll be great. Yeah.
Okay. So everyone, thanks again. It was great having you guys here. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great night.
Guys.
Bye.